Hello and welcome to a really weird video on the channel, but recently I did a Q&A to celebrate 3,000 subscribers. Actually, that's a lie, I haven't recorded that yet, but at the time of this going up, I will have done a Q&A to celebrate reaching 3,000 subscribers, and one of the questions in that Q&A is what other games do you play besides Fire Emblem? And I never have a good answer to this question, because I bounce around games quite a lot, and with a couple of exceptions, there's nothing I overly stick to in terms of a game that I play. So I thought, in lieu of answering that question properly or normally or like any regular person, I thought what I'd do instead is this Twitter trend I've seen going around. It is creating a list of your 25 favourite games of all time. And I've had a flick through the games, pretty much everything is on here. So I should be able to do it on here, and rather than doing it on Twitter, I'm doing it on YouTube, because why not make a video out of it? It could be a laugh. If it's not, you probably won't see it, or you might if I just want to put up content anyway. Who knows? But there are a couple of rules to get into just before I go into this. First of all, I think, maybe, I could be wrong, I think I've established by this point that I quite like Fire Emblem. So as a result, I don't really see a point in putting it on this list, so I'm going to do the 25 games other than Fire Emblem. We'll leave it off. And the other thing is, I'm only going to do one game per series, using that term a little bit loosely, but like, I guess to give an example, I would consider mainline Fire Emblem a series, but like Fire Emblem Warriors is a separate series, if that makes sense. Like spin-offs and that are their own series, so yeah. I'm only going to do one game per series, but I will mention other games within that series that I like, or things like that. So apart from that, I think I should be good to go. Apart from, I would like to thank the people who back the channel on Patreon. I really appreciate the support, and yeah, thank you very much for that. It is greatly appreciated. It really means a lot. So yeah, thank you for supporting over there. It's great. And I guess because this is kind of an extension of that video, thank you again for 3,000 subscribers. It's nuts. It's a crazy high number. And yeah, thank you all for being here. It's much appreciated. So let's start off. Do I get the one that's going to get me hate out of the way early? We might as well. So, look, everyone wants to leave this game off of their list, but I can't. I love League of Legends. I think this game's, like, it probably is my, probably not my most played game, but it's probably the one I've, like, sunk the most hours into if we factor in, like, watching esports and things like that. Like, yeah, this has gone beyond a game to me. This has almost become like a sport. Like, I love watching esports of League. Like, I'm a huge fan of it. And yeah, I think League of Legends is a great game. I can't deny that I actually kind of love this game, so it's got to go on there. And right adjacent to it has to be Teamfight Tactics, which, for those of you who don't know, is League of Legends Auto Battler. It's basically League of Legends' answer to Dota Auto Chess. And I have played way too much of this game. I used to be pretty decently high ranked. I was like mid to low diamond, like mid to high diamond, on a couple of accounts, on a couple of different regions. I love TFT. TFT is great, and I still play it a lot now. I've got back into it recently. I'm having a lot of fun with it still, so I guess that's why those two are the first on the list. They're the ones I'm still playing now that I've put a lot of time into over the years. I don't play that much League anymore, actually, but yeah, I still enjoy playing it. It's just, it's such a time commitment, you know? A game can be like an hour long, and like, or it could be like 20 minutes. It's just really like awkward and to try and get games of that in. TFT is a lot more consistent. You're sort of within that 25 to 35 minute range, maybe 40 on a long game. So I play a lot more of this, but I love both of these games. I know we're not supposed... League of Legends kind of has that Fire Emblem syndrome where like people who enjoy it are supposed to go, I hate this game, but no. In the same way I love Fire Emblem, I love League of Legends. As much as I enjoy participating in that joke, let's be honest, I really enjoy these games. I've just kind of realized, by the way, that the little list on the side is cut off. Let me see if I can correct that. There we go. We'll just do that. It still looks fine. It's still big enough, right? Yeah, there's a little list on the side, down this right-hand side. I need to get a move on, otherwise we'll be here for months. Jesus Christ, I've done 2 and we're like 4 minutes into this video. There might be some cuts, definitely, because I will have to think at some point. But the next one I don't have to think about. I'm going for Portal, and I'm not saying this is my favourite game of all time, but I think the first Portal is the closest to perfect that any game has been. There's just nothing wrong with it. Like, as hard as I try to think about it, I can't think of anything wrong with this game. I love Portal 2 as well. I think Portal 2 is great, especially the co-op. I think the co-op of that game is, like, captures the spirit of the original, but for me with Portal 2, there was just more time I wasn't enjoying the game, I guess, especially some of those, like, out of the test chamber sections. Yeah, I think it just had more... It had more in it, and as a result, there was some of that stuff that I didn't enjoy as much, but they're both incredible games. But Portal 1, it gets the nod for the list. Also, some of the games on this left-hand side here are very odd. Warcraft 2 came up when I searched Portal, which is interesting. Oh, so this one has to go on. I mean, at this point, some of these are just franchises, but there's no way that this doesn't make the list. I enjoy Call of Duty, okay? Again, I feel this is kind of similar to League of Legends. In 2023, you're not meant to say you enjoy Call of Duty, but I do. Call of Duty's great. Call of Duty 4 is basically my childhood. We're still cutting off the name. I don't care. You can see what that says. But yeah, Call of Duty 4 is, like, my childhood game from the age of, like, 11 upwards. Even when the other ones came out, World at War and Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops and all of those, I was still enjoying Call of Duty 4. This was my childhood. I love a lot of the Call of Duty games, don't get me wrong, but this one right here, this has got that nostalgia pass, and actually, it's hard because I haven't pre-planned this, and I probably should have done, but I think this has to make the list. I think Halo 3 has to get on there. As similarly to Call of Duty, this is the childhood. This is that, like, you know, age 11 to, like, age 16 kind of period, when the Xbox 360 was in its prime, pre-party chat, when you'd all have to talk in the voice chat in the game. It was great. Call of Duty 4 and Halo 3 were a special period in gaming. 2007 in general had some bangers. There's a lot more beyond that, but yeah, those two games for me are just sort of such a huge part of, I guess, like, it was also my introduction to, like, online multiplayer. I never really played that much on the PC. I did bits, but, like, I never really got into, like, online gaming, I guess, until, like, Call of Duty 4, Halo 3. So these kind of have to be on there for me. I can't really put anything else on there, but if we're going for the true childhood game, we have to drop in Pokemon. Now, this isn't technically the childhood game, but I guess it's part of it. It's just an older period of childhood, but this is probably my favorite entry. Apart from maybe Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but in general, Gen 4 really strong, but yeah, I love Pokemon. I really wish I liked Scarlet and Violet more than I did. I just wasn't that huge on them. But everything up to Scarlet and Violet, I've pretty much enjoyed. I didn't play Oras, actually. But other than that, I've pretty much enjoyed most of. Oh, I didn't play Sun and Moon, either. I had problems with the 3DS. I don't know if I spoke about this on the channel before, but at one point in, like, I guess, like, my late teens, early 20s, I really struggled to use a 3DS. I don't know why. Specifically a 3DS, but I picked up a wrist injury, and for some reason, I have just struggled to use a 3DS ever since. Everything else is fine. I've not had any trouble with controllers, the Switch in handheld mode, anything like that, but for some reason, a 3DS really did a number on me, and I missed a lot of games in that period. It's why I never played things like Awakening or Fates or Echoes for a long period of time as well, because I just couldn't use the console, which kind of sucks a little bit, but, you know, I have now played some of those games at least, and we're getting through some of them, but yeah. Pokemon's the childhood game. I mean, I've got Pokemon... I remember getting Pokemon Silver when I was on vacation with my parents, and that was sort of... It wasn't my introduction to the series. I'd played, like, a friend's copy of Pokemon Red before that. But, yeah, I guess that's where, like, the addiction started. And I still enjoy Pokemon a lot to this day. Actually... Oh, this is cheating. This is definitely cheating. It's on there. Technically, I'm going to count this as a different series. More than any actual mainline Pokemon game, I've sunk way more time into Pokemon Showdown. Look, this is technically cheating. For those of you who don't know, Pokemon Showdown is the battle simulator, where you can play online against other players with the exact same rules as in the game, but you can just generate your Pokemon, and you don't have to play on an actual console that's available on PC. I've sunk so much time into Showdown, like, hundreds of hours. I haven't played it for quite a while. It's probably been a couple of years, but I've played a lot of Pokemon Showdown, and I really enjoy it. So, competitive Pokemon was always a good time for me. I used to have a Pokemon channel many, many moons ago. We're talking when I'm, like, 13 or something. We're going back, like, 14 years or something like that. But, yeah, I used to have a Pokemon channel. I've still got the videos. I have those videos archived. Maybe one day I'll leak them. They're very bad, but it could be a laugh. Who knows? But where do I go from here? There's a lot that I'm thinking of. In fact, if we're going into games I used to play on the internet, I guess I'll drop this one, and this will probably catch some people off guard. But I used to speedrun Octodad's Dadliest Catch, and as a result, I've sunk hundreds of hours into this game. I've, like, watched and researched even more than that, probably, and it's captured a place in my heart forever. There will never be a time where I don't love Octodad Dadliest Catch. I've speedrun other games as well, Call of Duty World at War, Castle Crashers. I once got recognized playing a game of Halo as a Castle Crashers speedrunner, but I got like 5 views on Twitch or something at the time. On a good day, I got like 5 views on Twitch. I don't know how I got recognized, but I'll see if I can find the screenshot and put it over this video now. But yeah, that was a fun time. But yeah, I used to speedrun Octodad. I've put hundreds of hours into that game. Obviously not a perfect game or anything like that, but it holds a place in my heart, and I think that's important in a list like this one. We're talking about our favorite games of all time. Now, a lot of these probably, you know, I'm 27, so there's a sense of nostalgia in a lot of these picks, but some of these childhood games are going to start coming out, and I guess this was my first real introduction to a strategy game. It's not a real-time strategy game as in an RTS, but, oh, here we go. They've got one that's 2 and 3. Commandos 2 and 3 are games that I played the hell out of as a child. You basically had, like, a small squad of units, and you had to get through missions, and it was, at least to my child brain, it was difficult. Like, it was not an easy time, but I think this is kind of the first game that made me love difficult games. Like, I tend to do everything on the hardest difficulty when I play because I love that feeling of overcoming a challenge, you know? All that beatdown you get when you're trying to do it becomes worth it when you overcome that challenge, and I love that feeling. So, and I think this is kind of the game that first got me hooked on that, because this game, it did have difficulty settings, but at least when I was a child, even the easy setting was hard. And yeah, I guess this kind of shaped the way I play a lot of games today, but beyond that, it's just a really fun strategy game. I've gone back and played it a couple of times since, but I struggle to sit down and play single-player games these days, but this is one that I think I'll go back to a few more times. I enjoy it a lot. Where do I go from here? I guess if I'm going with I mentioned RTSs briefly there. I guess I should go into my big childhood RTS, which is not actually one of the major ones. It's Empire Earth. It's, in a way, at the time, to me, it felt like a more advanced version of Age of Empires. You start off in the prehistoric age with, like, cavemen, and you progress all the way through the ages. There's, like, 16, I think, like, they call them epochs, and you ended up in the future age with robots and, you know, nukes and everything like that. It was a really fun RTS. I've struggled to get it working for literally probably nigh on a decade at this point. And a few months ago, I picked it up on, what's the CG Projekt Red thing called? Good Old Games. I picked it up on there, the Gold Edition, and it worked, and I could not be happier. I've got the game working again. My big childhood RTS, I've got it working again. It's a good feeling. Fun RTS, though. I'd recommend it. But if we're talking RTSs, then Red Alert 2 has to make the cut, because this is kind of the other side of the same coin. This was the other one I played a ton. I played a lot of RTS as a child. Age of Empires would have been on there. Stronghold would have been on there. I don't know how popular some of these are. So, like, Age of Mythology, I played quite a bit. Cossacks, I don't... Is that popular? It's on Steam, so it must have some recognition in the modern day. But yeah, I played a lot of RTS as a child, but the two big ones, Empire Earth and Red Alert 2. I enjoyed Red Alert 3 a lot as well. I will throw that one out there. I enjoyed Red Alert 3 a lot, which I played on the Xbox at the time. But even on the Xbox, that game played well. Oh, Halo Wars was another one, but that was a bit later. That was more when I was in my teens, I think. But yeah. I enjoyed RTSs a lot, and Empire Earth and Red Alert 2 were the big ones. Oh, childhood game. I've got to go for Time Splitters. I almost want to say this is what got me into console gaming. I got my PS2 to be able to play Time Splitters after playing it at a cousin's house. This and Tekken Tag Tournament were the two games I remember playing at my cousin's house, and I was like, I need a PS2. Like, it was... yeah, I was hooked. This is kind of what got me into console gaming. It's an FPS It's mainly themed around sort of the single-player campaign, but there's also, like, exhibition, like, arcade matches, where you could just spawn in with a bunch of bots and kill them. It was a really good time. I've sunk so many hours into this game. This and Time Splitters Future Perfect, the third entry in the series, I've played so much of that they can't not make this list. But again, similar to a lot of games on this list, there's a lot of nostalgia involved, but they will always hold a special place in my heart. I love these games. They're important to me. So yeah, it's really weird not having a Fire Emblem on this list. I keep looking at, like, what's missing? Oh yeah, Fire Emblem. Oh. Like, it just feels like the natural thing to put on there, but I definitely need to have a think. I don't want to miss anything off that I think should definitely go on this list. I've considered putting a GTA on here. I've had a bit of a think, and I thought about putting a GTA on here, and then it clicked that a GTA does not go on this list, but what does is another Rockstar entry, and it's not Red Dead. It's Bully. I adore this game. I just think it's really fun. I just think it's more of like a small... what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a smaller scale version of GTA. I think it's a lot of fun. I've played too much Bully. It's kind of like you're a kid at school and it's got a whole GTA-style gameplay, I guess. You can free roam or you can do all the missions and everything, and there's side stuff you can do as well. You can, like, attend classes and things like that. I'm sure most people have played Bully. I don't think it needs that much of an explanation, but yeah, it's a really fun game. And I'm still struggling to think of the other 12 games that are going to go on this list. I say I'm struggling. There is another game which I had a whole YouTube channel themed around that went on for about a year, and I have sunk literally thousands of hours into this series. It's Football Manager. I think Football Manager 2019 is the one I've got a boatload of hours in, so I'll throw that one on there, but the entire series, I've played this a lot. Less so in recent years, but I've put so many hours into FM that it can't not make the list. I love this series. It's a simulation-style game. You don't actually play the matches, you manage the team and set them up with tactics and everything, and try and win everything there is to win in football. I'm a big football fan, soccer if you're American. I'm sure the frequent use of football is probably upsetting you all, which is excellent. So, yeah, soccer if you're American, but yeah, I'm a huge football fan, so this game fits right in, and does FIFA have to make the list? I think FIFA kind of has to make the list. I've played so much FIFA, it feels weird leaving it off. Where's FIFA 16? That's the one I played the most. There we go. Yeah, we'll drop FIFA on there. I've played so much FIFA, and I genuinely do have a lot of fun with it. I feel like similar to a couple of games like Call of Duty and League of Legends. You're not meant to admit to enjoying FIFA, but I do. It's a fun game. Look, you can't mention FIFA without saying, yes, the modern-day marketing of this game with the Ultimate Team and everything is incredibly exploitative. But the gameplay's still fun, and I still enjoy playing FIFA, and even recently I've had a blast playing pro clubs with some friends, so I can't not put FIFA on this list. It's just too much fun, and I've put too much time into it to not. I really enjoyed the game series, and I hope one day it moves away from exploitative, money-making nonsense. EA, please. While we're on the topic of sports games I'm a big fan of, I guess the other one I should probably put on this list is to go down the WWE route and go to SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. My introduction to WWE was through this game, something I've actually gotten back into quite recently. I started watching it again a couple of months ago now, and I've gotten quite back into it. But yeah, this was my introduction to it. I played this game at a friend's birthday party, and then I got it myself, and that's it. I was hooked. I put, again, so many hours into this game. I'd just sit there playing exhibition matches against the AI for, like, hours on end. It's quite sad to say it like that, really, but I had a lot of fun. And obviously I've played a lot of the future entries. I missed some years when I wasn't really following it, but yeah, I've played too much of this game for it to not make the list. And again, it's another one of these sort of childhood nostalgia games that are sort of dominating the list at the minute. You may notice there's a lack of single-player playthrough games, and like I say, a lot of them just sort of struggle to resonate with me. And not like that I don't enjoy them. There's a lot of single-player playthrough games I've had a great time with, but I don't think as many of them really, like, catch me as much as games that I've just sunk so many hours into that have taken up so much of my life that, like, yeah, I struggle to compare them in that way. There are a couple that I am considering, though. One quite prominently, so I mean, I guess, like, Portal's on here, right? And, like, a lot of these games also, like, Call of Duty, Halo, Bully, Commandos. Like, these games have single-player campaigns, Time Splitters, Red Alert. Like, these games do have campaigns. I just like when the games have more to them as well, which is quite weird when you consider that this whole channel is themed around a single-player playthrough game. Yeah, odd. Okay, if we're gonna go by games I've sunk hours into, I'm gonna put Hearthstone on the list. I've played way too much of this game. I was really big into it for, like, a good couple of years, around, like, 2015, 2016, 2017. I played a lot of this game. It was mainly when I was at university, because you could just play it on your phone, you could play it on a laptop, you didn't need something high-end to run it, and you could just... It was easy to just play, like, on the go, like, you're on the bus, you can quickly play a game, you can do anything. And, yeah, I've sunk a lot of time into this game. At one point, I was reasonably okay at it. You know, I never quite made Legend, and that's something that really annoys me. I can't remember if I got rank 2 or rank 1, but I never quite made Legend, and that's something that kind of haunts me. I wish I'd have just made that push up to that very highest bracket, even if I didn't get high into Legend, but... Yeah, I enjoyed Hearthstone a lot. I've put a lot of time into it, and it would feel weird for it to not make the list, so I have to give it a spot, but these picks are getting difficult, really difficult. Like, there are games I'm considering, I'm like, I know I love this game, but can I actually give it a spot on this list? And that's a difficult question to answer. So, I've had a think, and a game that I mentioned earlier is going to go on here. I'm going to put Castle Crashers in. I've been hovering over it for a while, and it has to make the cut, I think. I've already given some background information on my history with Castle Crashers, so I'll keep this one relatively short, but yeah, I love this game. I think it's a ton of fun, it's got a ton of replay value, and quite literally, if like, any of my friends were like, do you want to play Castle Crashers, I think I would say yes every time. I adore this game, it's incredible. And I'm gonna go for... Feels weird to put single playthrough games on this list, but there's one more, at least, that needs to make the cut, and it's going to be a Supergiant game. I think Supergiant are probably the most consistent game devs out there. It's going to be Pyre. Now, when a lot of people think of Supergiant, they're going to think of Hades or Bastion, or maybe Transistor, which I actually haven't played, but for me, Pyre is the one that really stuck with me. I like Hades, I like Bastion, but I think Pyre is an incredible game. I love my time with this game. I really enjoyed the gameplay, I enjoyed the plot, I enjoyed the characters. There's not much more to say about it. I really enjoyed, like, the atmosphere and the tone of the game. I think there was some really nice, like, story gameplay integration that I don't think you see too often in games, to the extent where this game did it, and it made you make some really difficult decisions regarding, like, the characters you wanted to help versus benefiting your gameplay, and it was... I don't want to say too much, because I think if you haven't played Pyre, you should go and play Pyre. This game's incredible, but this game is really good, and yeah, it definitely does. Despite being a single playthrough game, it definitely holds a place in my heart. I like this game a lot, and there's one that I'm constantly going back to, and I'm just going to drop it on here. Let's drop BioShock on the list. Every time I think, can I put another single playthrough game on the list, BioShock is the one that's jumping to mind. The first BioShock. I've got a confession to make that I haven't played Infinite. I got 1 and 2 at the same time. I blitzed through 1, I slogged my way through 2. I don't think I finished 2, to be honest. 2 wasn't as gripping as 1, and then I just didn't pick up Infinite, despite everyone telling me I should, because I haven't played BioShock 2. Or I haven't finished BioShock 2, so... Yeah, I've not played Infinite yet. I feel like I should, but BioShock 1 is incredible. Gameplay-wise, a little clunky, but, like, there's some issues with it gameplay-wise, but the atmosphere, the story, the tone of this game is top tier. I really enjoy it. I had a great time with BioShock. It's a truly incredible game. And, yeah, as far as, you know, single playthrough games go, BioShock is definitely one I would recommend. I think this game's so much fun. Okay, I'm going to go with another game here that I think... I keep going back to it. I keep thinking it needs to be on the list. Hotline Miami. I love this game. It's so fun. I went back and played it... God, it feels recent, but I think it was like early 2022. I went back and played it again. Still just as fun as the first time. Incredible game. The second one I liked too, but the gameplay was significantly worse. Like... They just added so many things in the game that just felt unfun to play around, but the first Hotline Miami, pretty much like a masterpiece. I love this game. It's similar to what I said about Portal. I struggle to find faults with Hotline Miami. That game is incredibly fun. And yeah, honestly, now I kind of want to play Hotline Miami again, so I'm probably going to do that after I finish recording this video. I think I want to put Overwatch on the list. This is a game which I've had a very hot and cold relationship with over its lifespan. There are times where I think this game has been terrible, like, just unenjoyable to play. But at its peak, Overwatch is a banger of a game. It is so just chaotic and fast-paced and fun. And look, I've played a fair amount of FPSs. I've played a lot of Counter-Strike, and I can't see them making the list over something like Overwatch, because at its core, I think Overwatch is more fun. Like, I enjoy playing CSGO from a competitive perspective, but Overwatch is fun. And at the end of the day, that resonates more with me. I enjoy games that are fun, and I think Overwatch is a ton of fun. I really enjoy Overwatch when it's good, despite the parts where it's not. I've not played too much Overwatch 2, to be fair, but honestly, I could probably still fire up Overwatch 2 now and have a really good time with it. Actually, I've just realized the game I've left off. It has to go on. The competitor to League of Legends that isn't Dota, it's Heroes of the Storm. I can't not put HOTS on here. If you ask me, like, pound for pound, which game is better, League or HOTS, I would be really struggling to choose. I think HOTS is so fun. Some of the characters in this game, Cho'Gall, 2 people get to control the same character. It's so fun. The different maps add so much variance to every playthrough. Honestly, I really enjoy MOBAs, so, like, Pokemon Unite is not far off making this list, even though it's not going to. But, yeah, like, I enjoy MOBAs, and I think HOTS is, in terms of gameplay, like, if I wanted to guarantee a good time in a game, I would play HOTS over League. I think League has the higher peak, but HOTS is more fun on a regular basis for me. I pretty much only play tanks. I pretty much only play Garrosh at that, but I love playing Garrosh. Garrosh is fun, and HOTS is fun. It's making the list. I love HOTS. HOTS is great. I wish it was a bigger game, but sadly it's just smaller than League and Dota, isn't it? But it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy HOTS, and it deserves its spot on this list. It's hard, but I'm gonna go with the original Red Dead. Purely because I haven't finished 2. I've just not gotten around to finishing that game, and unfortunately the game's very long and my time is relatively limited, so I've just never gotten around to finishing it. But the first Red Dead I loved. I think this is better than any Grand Theft Auto's ever been. I've enjoyed the hell out of this game. I really want to finish the second one. If I'd finished the second one, I'd feel more confident putting one of them on this list. But I'm going to finish Red Dead 2. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first Red Dead Redemption. I think it has to make it on here. And a couple more of these playthrough style games did eventually make it on the list. So I'm kind of glad about that in a way. But yeah, I think Red Dead's great. And there is one spot remaining, and I don't know what to put in it. There are so many things that could go there. There are so many games that could take this final spot, but I think I've figured out what I'm going to put there. It's going to be Skyrim. It has to be. These two are the same, and one of them is going to be a weird version, isn't it? Let's go with that one. Okay, yeah, that's just Skyrim. Honestly, I don't think Skyrim would have made the list if it wasn't for mods. I really don't, but I had so much fun playing around with Skyrim and modding it and just doing all the silly, weird things you could do there. Honestly, I probably have more fun modding Skyrim than I have playing Skyrim. But it's still Skyrim, so it's going to make the cut. There are so many games here that I love that haven't made the list, and it makes me a little sad, but I think this is a fair representation. Look, there's probably something I've forgotten, I'll be honest, so this might not be exactly my top 25 of all time or something like that, but it's definitely a top 25 out of, like, 30 or something. I might have forgotten some stuff. There's also a lot of things that I've started but never finished that I think if I finish them would definitely make the list. Because a lot of the times when I stop playing games, it's simply because I run out of time. Either, I don't know, just life stuff gets in the way, and then when I finally get time to, play them again, I kind of forget where I'm at in the game, and I don't want to start all over again. Or, there'll be, co-op playthroughs, and then we just fizzle out and start playing other things instead, or something like that. There's a lot that I think this list could very easily be very different. There is a lot that could probably earn a spot on this list, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. So there you go, you've got a bit of a reflection of some other games that I greatly enjoy. Pokemon Showdown definitely feels like it's cheating having a spot on here with Platinum right next to it, but I don't care. There's a lot of games. If there's anything I've forgotten that I think definitely deserves a spot, I'll probably drop it in the comments. But at least this is somewhat of a fair representation of 25 other games that I greatly enjoy. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to the people who back the channel on Patreon. I do really appreciate that support, and thank you again for 3,000 subscribers. This video has gone on way too long. I will catch you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye.